It's Friday night, and we're live. Smoking Savinelli 316 with some haunted pirate ship. 50% hot haunted bookshop, 50% pirate cake. Excellent. Got my guest here, Summer. Maybe we'll keep her in the shot there. Can you say hi? Say hi. Say hi. What do you think about that? You're on YouTube. Who have we got in the audience tonight? Speak up. We have 20, 25. No comments as yet. Perhaps the comments aren't working. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? Yeah. So I got up early this morning, went out, and last night I decided I'd film the end of my video first because doing that cemetery stuff can be a little tricky, especially if they're getting ready for a funeral or something. So I didn't want to film the first part and then not have the end of it. So went to the cemetery, got all set up, turned the camera on, and realized that I had no script prepared for that part of the video. Stumbled over my words, didn't know what I was talking about, but I figured I could mute the sound on it, chop up the video a little bit, and make something that looked halfway decent to put at the end of the video today. It worked out all right. Then, of course, I got to the place where I wanted to tell the story, Tunxus Mead Park, and decided I definitely wanted to be out in the middle of nowhere where I couldn't be bothered. And I found a nice bench that was across a soccer field by the edge of the woods. And I walked over there, got all set up, and had no tobacco. Had to walk back to the car. When I walked back to the car, they decided to turn the sprinklers on the field, so I couldn't go back there. Decided I'd walk to another field. When I got to the other field, of course, all the benches were on the opposite side of the field. Wind was blowing, my hair was a mess, but it all worked out okay. So that was my morning. Have an announcement for Eric, blue collar pipe smoker. He's having a codger contest which ends tomorrow morning. If you want to get in on it, go to Eric, blue collar pipe smoker. Find his video codger contest. Say you want to be in on it, and he's picking tomorrow morning. I happen to be a codger by default. Back when I started smoking a pipe, your only choice of tobaccos really were the codger blends. Prince Albert, Carter Hall, Sir Walter Raleigh, Half and Half, Edgeworth Ready Rub, Grandeur, Kentucky Club. So that's really all I knew until I went to a tobacco shop for the first time. I think that was in the later 90s. Then I discovered Dunhill blends, Ashton blends, Esoterica. And when I finally got on the internet in 99, all hell broke loose. So much to choose from. But the old codger blends, great things. You can't beat them. So I had received several requests in the past to show my Zippos, Zippo lighters, and I brought out a few that are worth showing because I have probably half a dozen that are just plain like this one. And this one's all beat up. It's my practice Zippo Tricks lighter. I always keep it on the desk and fool around with it. But we'll start with the newest and work our way backwards. From Tony P, the Matches 860 pipe lighter. First thing I did was take the pipe insert out and put in a regular insert because I do much better with the regular as opposed to the pipe inserts. Tony P. Phil Rivara sent me that one. So I switch off between those two lately. And here's a classic. I got this at work. Oh, geez, it was probably more than 10 years ago. And this thing has seen a lot of use. You might see this in a lot of my earlier videos because this was all I carried for a long time. You like that one, don't you? Huh? Yeah. Then we have, oh, I got a few of these too. Just the regular Zippos with the pipe logo on them. You might see these in some of my videos too, because I might have used this one quite a bit as well. This has been around the block a few times. Next, the commemorative Zippo car Zippo. My wife and daughter gave me this for Christmas one year, and it's engraved on the back, 98. Carried that a long time. In fact, that lit up a lot of cigarettes. Back in 1986 or thereabouts, my dad quit smoking, and the first thing my mom did was pack up all his lighters and send them to me. I got my non-Zippo lighters from him that I'll probably show like next week or some other time. But one of them that he had never been used either. This little Salem cigarette lighter. I love this size. And one of these days I'm going to fire this up just so that it gets used. Hate to see an unused lighter. But the real thrill for me was getting the lighter that I remember him using the whole time I was growing up. And I think it was late 50s or early 60s. He started working for a company that gave these out, Laboratory for Electronics. He was doing some work with radar or some stuff, and this is the lighter I remember him using all the time. And for any of you that have parents or grandparents when you were growing up that used a Zippo and you heard the click open and the click shut, brings back a lot of memories. The smell of the lighter when it first opens up and lights. Really cool. So there were actually 3 of these, and this one was in such a mess. I sent it back to Zippo, and they redid the hinge and swapped out the insides for me. So almost like new, but my dad wore the logo right down there. So those are those Zippos. What else have we got to add tonight, huh? You want to tell a story? Hmm? Tell a story? You could tell a story. Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that the comments aren't working. Don't know if it's something I did or something YouTube did. For that matter, I don't even know if I'm live. It says there are 58 watching, 13 thumbs up. We've been on for 12 minutes and 38 seconds. So, now I need to come up with something else. My, I'm sure I mentioned this in a video or in a live stream last week or before, but we've hired an assistant who ultimately, hopefully, will take my place at work when I retire. He had his first week, and so far he's taken some of the pressure off, which is really good. So my week wasn't quite as bad as it usually is, or has been. Just have to go over an awful lot of stuff before he can take over in a year and a half. And let's see. Just speaking off the top of my head, it'll be our 30th summer party at work this year in August. Have a party every year, and this will be 30. So that's going to be fun. Probably in another 3 weeks or so, it'll be time for me to pick out my vacation time for the autumn. Favorite time of year. I know Sergeant Savinelli dreads the thought, but I can't wait. Got to get going on whatever I'm going to be doing for Halloween videos. And I know right after Halloween last year, I thought it would be fun to do some haunted places in Connecticut. There are some that are fairly close by that I could probably easily visit and do videos on, but I haven't decided definitely yet, so we'll have to see what happens with that. If you have any other ideas, let me know. And we're getting closer to 4th of July. 4th of July, I think, is on a Wednesday. And a couple of days before, I'll do a video, I think, if everything works out okay. Um, Taking that Kentucky leaf out of the bacon old fashioned, chopping that up and getting it ready to smoke. 4th of July. That's gotta taste better than the rest of the blend. And I think this is what, year number 3? I said I'd do it for 5 years, and I think we're at year number 3. See if it tastes as bad as it did last year. Age has to do something to that. Then right after that, we got Brad, Pipes and Kayaks, coming up. Little meeting in Connecticut with Brad and Sergeant Savinelli. Really looking forward to that. Although it's right after my annual physical with the doctor, so I might be a little shaky that day. We'll have to see. 36 makes me wonder if we're really working or not. 25 thumbs up. Something must be working. Let me see. Little topic of conversation. Go back to a little talk about my dad. Smoked for years Camel non-filters. So this and a pack of Camel non-filters takes me back around 1971 or 72, I think it was. Well, it could have been, let me think a second. No, it was late 60s. He changed to Larks filter cigarettes with a charcoal filter. And I was, I think it was when I was 14 or 15. Ended up swiping a pack off him down at the Cape. And I had this place I used to go on my bike riding around because they were all these bike paths. Great place to go and sneak a cigarette. So, yeah, he quit in 86. And I remember one of the last times I went down to visit, every once in a while he'd reach for his pocket. So old habits die hard. What else have we been smoking here recently? Doing a lot of ribbon cut burley and a little bit of red Virginia now and then. Kentucky Club a little bit. Edgeworth Ready Rubbed a little bit. Keep the Peter Heinrichs around. That's going quick. And waiting to open this very shortly. Doing my Toscanos left over from Pipes and Beans, which is so good. I gotta keep that in the forefront. I'll finish that off before it gets so dry that it's not worth smoking. And I've had a couple cigars, and I've taken what's left of them, chopped them up, and put them into a jar to hold, to mix with probably my ribbon cut burley and my red Virginia. I'll do that sometime when I'm bored. And I think my pirate cake is finally out. I think there's still something left in there. Geez, I got a million Zippos here and I can't find the one that works. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Well, when all else fails, there's always a Bic. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of pirate cake, the latest update, because I gave an update before on the pirate ship Witta, where they found the bone kind of fused together with all kinds of other artifacts that came out of what they think was the galley. And they thought it might have been Sam Bellamy's, who was the head pirate, his leg bone. They did DNA tests, and it turns out it wasn't from him, so that was the end of that. But they did find, and I haven't read any more about it, they found the location where all those pirates who were drowned were buried on the Cape. It's out in the middle of nowhere, so that was a pretty interesting twist to the story. Forget how many there were. Some ridiculous number. But only a couple survived out of all those people. The rest of them were all buried up in the woods. So weird, not having comments. I'll find out after the show what happened. There's something funny with the setting up the schedule for doing these. um, you pick your time that you're going to do it. So like mine was 7:30. And then after you press the button that says, okay, we're going to do this, the new time that shows up is totally different. And it used to always be something like 2 hours earlier. But on the one tonight, instead of saying 7:30, it said 11:09 a.m. or something. It was crazy. I don't know how it did that. And this pipe is awesome. Really great shape. I have an unfinished that's just like this. I smoke Saturday nights usually. And I had smoked my Friday Savinelli right up until I started the live stream, which is unusual because usually by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it starts getting a little bit too wet. But it was acting like a champ today. So I got lucky with it. So I think we're going to call it night. I might do a work video tomorrow if I get motivated. If I don't, then definitely next week. Till then, thanks an awful lot for joining me, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks a lot.